Kyle. I've seen a lot of movies, but I have not seen Cabin in the Woods. Because it looks like garbage. But I'm here now. I watched some horror movies. I watched quite a bit of horror movies, actually. My uncle is a big fan of horror. I hear this is just a bunch of horror movies in a box. I don't know. That's all I really know. It's a Rubik's Cube house. This and that. I mean, it's Joss Whedon, so it can't be terrible. But I probably will go, oh, this is really great at this point, and then this later point, I don't understand what's happening. He does that sometimes. But let's get on with it. I'll watch 5 minutes, and then I'll come back and tell you if I want to continue watching, and then I'll watch it anyway. Alright, so, Cabin in the Woods. There's neither a cabin or any woods yet. There's just 5 minutes of the most stereotypical setup for any horror movie ever. I've seen this, I'd say at least 100 times. It's blatant, though. It's a little more blatant. I think that's on purpose. I've never seen a man with a collapsible bong that turns into a coffee cup, and then seconds later, he has rolled not 1 or 2 joints, but he has rolled like 7, and he has a pile of weed in front of him still rolling. There's 5 people in the damn van. Who's all gonna smoke that? I'm the smart girl that wants to bring books with me. I'm the guy that nobody really knows that's just gonna be there, probably gonna kill somebody or get killed for no reason, like in a stupid attempt to save somebody. I don't know. But yeah, the vapid like horror characters, like, oh, I went blonde just to be the blonde horror character, woo! And the sports guy, like, they threw a football. Like, the first thing Chris Hemsworth does is throw a football, and he's like, I'm a man! I also know books. It's very, very stereotypical, and I don't know if this is, I mean, it looks intentional. I still can't tell if this is a parody of a horror movie, or it's just a stereotypical horror movie yet, which I guess that goes to show that we can watch more. It's intriguing because there's little bits that are like different, so I want to know what the hell those little bits are. But it always happens. Smart dude is a football player guy that's dating a dumb girl that also he like kind of has little hints of interest in the smart girl because, you know, brains. It's whatever. It's all I know is it's storming now, and now I have to listen to rain and this movie. So, as movies go, I'm going to give it a C as an opener just because it's the same thing you've seen in every horror movie, like, ever that goes into the woods or on a trip and I mean, it wasn't any different than some of the movies that I've seen that have, like, nobody you've ever known in it. Like, there's the only person I know is Chris Hemsworth, and it's probably only because at the time he was Thor, and they needed him to be seen in other things besides Thor. But yeah, we'll see if it picks up, but as movies go, it's just flat right now. Just like, oh no, the animals are being scared too. They don't want me to watch this. Save us. Turn the camera off. Watch this damn thing. Go. Stop recording.
Are you even listening to me?
Okay. So, it was the point. Everything was fabricated. Like, immediately after I did the 5 minutes, I was like, oh, there's gonna be a scary old man, and they're gonna not trust him and go on their way, and there was a scary old man. They didn't trust him, and they went on their way. I was like, immediately, the first thing I saw was like, oh, it's the Evil Dead house. There's going to be a thing that opens up, and something's going to happen. And I guess it's as much as a parody as it was a slap in the face of stereotypical horror movies. And then we're like, hey, you know how those things happen? Well, they're all so formulaic, we can just make fun of that it is a formula. And that's what happened. Does that make it a better movie? Not really. It fit all the tropes on purpose to make fun of the tropes. The funny thing is, like, the whole first half of the movie, you're just like, why? Why is this? And then he finds, like, a camera, and you're like, you get it pretty quickly. But it doesn't actually get funny until, like, right at the halfway point, they actually start getting away, and then everything's fucks up on the other end, and they're like, you forgot that this guy's not dead, no, and then he just, like, the funniest part is Chris Hemsworth trying to escape and save them on a motorcycle. It just smashes into a big-ass wall, an invisible wall that you see earlier on in the movie, and you just kind of tumbles. But, like, the whole movie had foreshadowing from each character on top of the fact that it wasn't trying to hide anything. So it was kind of immediate. You're like, oh, this is going to happen. Oh, now this is happening. Oh, now this is happening. But, I mean, I'll give him credit for making a movie that was original while using nothing original in it. I immediately remembered Buffy the Vampire Slayer when they went down into the deep darkness to kill the ancient evil and save the world, which is literally what Buffy does. Only in that, all the bads are gone, but all the tons of little girls turn into slayers. In this, they just went, fuck it. And then it's over. So spoiler alert, they lose. Or win. Sigourney Weaver popped up. How about that? I feel like we kind of went through a couple movies recently where she just pops up. It was funny. They had little bits here and there. The sets are really cool looking. The effects are really cool. It's a good mix of, like, animated effects as well as, like, practical, like, makeup and stuff like that. The acting is pretty decent for what it is. Like, once they get away from that, they start slowly becoming back to, like, this person. But they still fit the mold anyway. The stoner guy's still the stoner guy, even though he stops taking the laced drugs. And the strong woman, the survivor, the Scream Queen, as most horror people would know them as, still is the Scream Queen, more or less, until she, like, decides that she's gonna do what's supposed to be done and save the world, but instead, she gets eaten by a werewolf. So whatever. All in all, the movie is predictable and full of all the stuff you expect. If you were looking into this and, like, you came into this movie like I did and thought it was a horror movie, you're wrong. Don't do that. It's a fringe on parody, where it's not made to be a parody where it's, like, over obvious, like something like Scary Movie or stuff like that, where they're doing the stereotypes on purpose and over-exaggerating. They're literally just doing the stereotypes because that's the formula. And then the movie just goes, yeah, we know the formula, we make fun of it, and it's because the ancient evils are always been there, and that's why we keep making the same type of movies. Because those are real, and we're just making these scenarios are just ancient evils that we keep rehashing. I think that's kind of neat on its own. I also really like that the Japanese horror plot, they showed a little bit of it and how, like, ridiculous some Japanese horror stuff is. And it's not, they obviously they made fun of Japanese horror movies, but, like, in tongue-in-cheek style, which was great, because the Japanese like to use their old horror stories and make them into movies like we do, but we use, like, Americans use a bunch of stuff from all over the place, where Japanese people have these crazy, like, horror stories about, like, I can think of one, like, it was a Yuki-Onni, where she, like, goes around, tries to ask these people, like, you have to answer a Yuki-Onni, like, a specific way when she asks this question, otherwise she cuts your face off. Yeah, do you think I'm pretty? And then you gotta, like, you can't really, like, directly say yes or no. It's weird. They have all these, like, weird, ways of being polite. The horror stories usually end up with being, like, just being a good person. Where this was based on, like, you fucked up. You're young and stupid, and you chose to dick around with things you shouldn't have, and that's why you died. And that's why they made the movie like that, and I can commend them for that, but I'm not going to give them, like, an A for that. I'll give them a B. It's no longer a C, so good for you. Otherwise, I mean, I don't think I'll ever choose to watch it again on my own. If there was a group and like someone hasn't seen it or just want to laugh at the stupidness of it. But I also just choose really bad horror movies to do that anyway. They don't try to cover it up. Oh, we did that on purpose. They just do it because they don't know any better. I guess tongue-in-cheek is the only thing I keep coming to, where it's just like, it's there, you're supposed to laugh, but they're not doing it like to make a laugh right out of the movie. They're just doing it. And, good for that. If you want to watch this movie, just remember it's not a real horror movie. But there are horror elements. Yeah, I'll just cut that part out. Don't. Shh. Like, comment, subscribe.